Welcome to our program on Kardec Radio.
Hello, dear friends. Welcome to Kardec Radio, 24/7, always nourishing our souls. We are here every Tuesday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to study the divine laws that govern the universe. And if we are wondering, why is it that we need to study the divine laws? It is because, dear friends, one of the main purposes of our reincarnation on the earth is to begin to align ourselves with them. And if we are wondering why is such a purpose so important, it is because the more we align ourselves with God's wisdom consciously, the happier we will become, because we will be seeking for progress, not only materially speaking, which is important, but also spiritually speaking. So we will be preparing ourselves, dear friends, to milestones that are on our educational curriculum as students on the earth, under the guidance of our one and only guide and master, Jesus Christ. So, as we study the divine laws together, we are investing on ourselves for immortality and thus preparing ourselves to reach a level of inner contentment that is everlasting. Why can we dare to say that such a feeling, sentiment, state can be everlasting? Because, dear friends, its foundation and its construction does not rely on the impermanent quality of the earth, of the material life. It relies on the imperishable, valuable value. So let us continue to invest on our immortal growth. This is why Kardec Radio is here, to help us together to nourish our souls. So tonight we are going to study the third part of the Spirit's book, where Kardec organized the ethical moral laws that rule not only. So we are preparing ourselves as well to become universal citizens. So we are going to study the third part of the Spirit's book, focusing specifically tonight on the section regarding free will. So we would like to welcome everyone. We hope that everyone feels a loving embrace from the doctors, nurses, therapists, and spirits who are seeking to learn just like us, who have joined us. So let us feel this beautiful current of light and feel welcomed by all the loving spirits that guide us. If you wish to write a comment to make our study more interactive, feel free to do so. If not, let us enjoy nourishing our souls together. Begin 47 in the Spirit's book. So in question 847, Kardec asks, can a distortion of the faculties deprive humans of their free will? So, very interesting question. In other words, Kardec would like to investigate whether limitations of a physical or mental nature the physical vest could prevent us from exercising our free will. We know that free will is a divine right granted to all of us because God is just and God loves everyone equally. So Kardec wisely asks, what happens to us if our physical vest has impairments? Hello, dear Shane. It's one welcome, dear soul, and welcome everyone who is joining us. So let us hear the wise answer from the spirit mentors. They respond, those whose intelligence is impaired by any cause are no longer in complete control of their thought, and therefore they have no more freedom. Suddenly, a punishment for the spirit who might have been vain and proud and might have made bad use of its faculties in another existence. It may be reborn in the body of someone who is mentally impaired as the despot in the body of a slave, and the spiteful, wealthy person in that of a beggar is perfectly conscious of such constraint and suffers from it. It is in this constraint that one sees the action of matter. So yes, Kardec is saying that for those who are experiencing mental impairments, rather the spirit mentors are explaining to us that those who are experiencing mental impairment do have their free will temporarily limited or somewhat blocked. However, this does not happen because God is unjust. Rather, this takes place because that spirit who is animating that body and is immortal in a previous life misused their intellectual faculties. So now feel as though their conscience can experience peace. They can make peace with their own selves. They experience this sort of limitation so that they can educate themselves in the school of life, understand how precious the intellectual faculties are, to then learn to use those faculties more wisely in a future. That God, dear friends, loves us less when we have an impairment of any sort, or when we see others who have an impairment. God does not love us less because our physical bodies do not respond to our command. No, God is only utilizing of that particular restraint as an educational. Many of us experience restraints on a minor or greater level, depending on our reincarnatory plan and depending on our spiritual milestones that we would like to achieve. But all of us have some sort of restraint. When our body ages, we often lose the ability to move quite as freely as before, and in some sort of cognitive impairment. If this is so, it is not because, once again, God is punishing us, but rather it is because God is educating us, helping us to value a faculty, a talent as a treasure that we were not able to value previously. Often we come to truly value a treasure or talent. So this is the therapy of shock, which God allows out of love for us to remember how precious these faculties are and thus do not anymore take them for granted. So when we see dear friends in perhaps charitable institutions, on television, or in our own family, sometimes spirit with great restraints, including mental restraints, let us not, dear friends, send vibrations of pity towards them, send vibrations of sadness towards them, or feel as though they are relegated by God into forgetfulness, into an abyss of darkness. Let us not look at this spirits and this. We are only looking at them through the material lens. Kardec and the spirits on high are inviting us, are giving us tools for us to go beyond that. How do we go beyond the material lenses? We change the way in which we decode those challenges. We are being invited to decode these challenges differently, rather the body that represents a great restraint for the spirit as a defeat, we perceive it as a golden opportunity for the spirit to reach another level of evolution. So when we think of spirits in this circumstance, or see spirits in this circumstance, or spend time, we shall send them vibrations of courage, of hope, because we know that God only has allowed for them to experience this challenge because they are ready to come to peace with their own conscience by taking a very hard medicine to swallow, but that will bring them through healing because they no longer that precious talent as something that they can easily discard. So let us tonight and all any opportunity when we have the possibility, pray for the spirits and say, God believes in you, dear friend. God loves you so much that God gave you this challenge because God knows that you shall overcome. And we are here to support you and love you through this challenge. You are victorious and we believe in you. So let us do this prayer, vibrations, affirmations for the spirits and even for ourselves when we experience challenges. We are bound to experience challenges, dear friends, because we are on earth not to go on vacation, Hawaii, or to have our dream home, but rather to achieve spiritual milestones. Nothing wrong with thinking about the material milestones we just mentioned, but we who know the preciousness of life after life, the reality of the law of action and reaction, are being invited to make the spiritual milestone plan a priority in this life, especially because we know of Spiritism and we have the Spirit's book, for instance, that breaks down the ethical moral laws that guide our lives, not only now, but for many lives to come. So, because we have this special treasure available to us, beloved friends, we are ready differently. So, we are being invited tonight by the mentors of Kardec Radio and our individual mentors as well to become encouragers whenever we see, meet a spirit, incarnate or discarnate alike, that is dealing with impairments of any natures. We shall be their encouragers. We shall tell them even we believe in them and that they shall overcome and that the difficulty is only temporary. As Mother Mary told Emmanuel, who told Chico Xavier, this too shall pass. So we shall tell our brothers and sisters in great difficulty that their difficulty is temporary, and if they bear it with courage, in another lifetime, God willing, they lack temporarily shall be restored to them. So let us be encouragers, knowing that any restraint or limitation is but a temporary educational opportunity. And if we, dear friends, persist, we shall go back to the spiritual realm, graduate victorious as completers. We shall get checked the educational items that our Master Jesus and all the mentor spirits who love us through eternity placed in our reincarnatory plan. So if we are being challenged to a great degree, let us give thanks because God believes that we are spiritually ready and that we shall overcome. This week is the week of Thanksgiving Indiana. So let us take the opportunity, dear friends, to take the time to thank God for all the blessings we have and as well the challenges that were given to us because we know now that they are not punishments, but rather they are educational opportunities given to us out of love for us to progress spiritually. A blessing. Let us now read, dear friends, question 848. Kardec asks, does the distortion of intellectual faculties because of drunkenness excuse reprehensible acts? Excellent question, as always. We are so grateful to Kardec because he's an excellent educator and research questions we too would like to ask the spirits on high. So this time Kardec reads our minds and asks, how about if we are under the influence of alcohol or drugs of any nature? Are we responsible for what we do? Sometimes we know of individuals who even have amnesia because of excessive intake of alcohol or drugs. Don't blame us because we don't even know what we did. So let us hear now what the mentor spirits have to say. Are these people under the influence responsible for what they do? The mentors respond very clearly by saying, no, because drunkards intentionally deprive themselves of their reasoning in order to satisfy instead of one wrong they committed two. Instead of one wrong, they committed two. So the answer, thank goodness, doesn't come from us, because who are we to know? But it comes from the mentor spirits who are messengers of the governance of the earth, of Jesus Christ, and they are explaining to us whenever we are under the influence as an excuse to drink because we would like to relax, and then we say things, and the next day we may come to our friends and loved ones and say, oh yeah, don't take us seriously because we don't know what we were saying. The spirits are telling us that no, we cannot hide or escape under the mask of alcohol or drugs or even pornography blanket. No, and we can no longer argue that we are harming just ourselves, because whatever we do, dear friends, however small our actions may be, we have influence in our immediate circle of action. Emmanuel explains in the book Thought and Life that we even have vibratory influence, vibrational in what we think and feel emits a radiation, fluids that influence the people around us. So we even mentally and emotionally influence one another. Psychology even terms this process as emotional contagion, because we are vibratory beings. So we vibrate feelings and thoughts, and we magnets that think alike. So not only are and feel alike. So not only are we influencing the incarnates in our immediate circle of action, but the discarnates that also like to do what we do. So if we like drinking, even if socially, as one may argue, we are still connecting not only with others who like drinking in the physical realm, but the spiritual realm as well. How do we know that this is the case? If we read the book Sex and Destiny, we see the incarnate spirit that Andre Lewis, through the mediumship of Chico Xavier, names Claudio. Claudio, says Andre Lewis, is a very successful man, applauded by the earthly society. And when he goes, reads the newspaper, and likes to have a drink. Andre Lewis arrives exactly at this moment when Claudio sits in his armchair to read the newspaper. And when Claudio gets up to fix himself a drink, Andre Lewis immediately sees one discarnate spirit that is whispering in Claudio's ears. Want to drink? Fix us a drink. And then Claudio does so, thinking that he's the only one drinking. But that discarnate spirit, who also enjoys drinking alcohol, connects to Claudio's perispiritual body, one perispirit with another, and enjoys drinking with Claudio. He uses Claudio to suck the emanations of alcohol. So the scarlet spirits who had the habit of drinking when they were incarnate don't necessarily stop. This is why when we have a physical body and we decide to drink, sometimes it's very hard to resist, because, dear friends, we are not alone. And when Claudio drinks that drink. Another spirit comes, says Andre Lewis in the book Sex and Destiny through Chico Xavier. Another spirit comes and says, "Hey, Claudio, we would like a drink as well. Fix another one. This one is for me." So Claudio automatically fixes himself a second dose, and he thinks he's drinking by himself in complete control of him. Then the same procedure of vampirism occurs. The second discarnate spirit connects to Claudio's perispirit and absorbs the alcohol emanations. And then Andre Lewis asks the mentor spirit who is on earth together with Andre Lewis, is Claudio to blame for drinking, for having drunk? Because there weren't the spirits, the discarnate spirits, the one to blame? Why couldn't we save Claudio? Asks Andre Lewis. The mentor spirit explains exactly what the spirit mentors described in question 848, which we just read. The mentor spirit tells Andre Lewis, no, the discarnate spirits are not to blame because Claudio has intellectual faculties. He has free will. He is not sick. He can very well decide what to do. It was his full and conscious decision to drink. So the discarnate spirits are not to blame. They were attracted towards Claudio by Claudio in the first place. So Claudio, though he is spiritually is responsible for his action because he made the decision to drink without any coercion. The discarnate spirits came to him because he unconsciously called them. So now, dear friends, that we know this precious piece of information, that thank God we can read life through a bifocal lenses, more influenced by one another and by discarnate spirits than we can ever imagine. Let us then take greater responsibility for our actions. We now know that social drinking does not exist because the minute we make the decision to drink, this is no longer something just for fun because we are automatically convinced. This is why it's hard to stay in just one little dose because others are accompanying us. And this is how alcoholism develops and prevails in our society today. We who have this piece of information, the bifocal lenses of life, who know how the interaction between the two planes of life occur, we may become suicide spirits if we continue to poison our physical bodies with alcohol. This was the state in which the spirit Andre Lewis reached the physical plane. His status was one of a suicide spirit. Why? Because he intentionally took his physical life away? No, but because he had the habit of so many extramarital affairs as well, misdirecting his creative sexual energy, which nowadays is very much done through pornography. We know of groups that are formed even in WhatsApp between friends to share videos of pornographic nature. And those who choose to press the button are both taking their vital forces away and also sucking the vital force of those performing in the videos. How do we know? Because this is not the manner in which God wishes for us to interact. God does not wish for us to look at another human being as an object for our own pleasure. Choice, we open the door for other spirits to suck our life energy away as we suck the life energy of others, because the sexual or creative force is our most sacred life-giving force given to us in this life. So if we choose to misuse this force for immediate pleasure by objectifying for our own satisfaction, we again are sucking their lives away, and other spirits that are also addicted to this kind of practice may be sucking our lives away as well. So we learn here that because we have free will, because we are responsible for our actions, and because God does not interfere with our choices out of love, we may incur in indirect we choose to poison our bodies or incur into sucking the life force of others as well. So the mentor spirits are asking us to be grateful for our physical vest by respecting it with love, by nurturing it with love, and by revisiting our own conduct to make sure that we ourselves do not arrive in condition or status of an indirect suicide, because we have been given the treasure of discernment. What a blessing! Much, much more than we can imagine to be thankful for in this week of Thanksgiving. We hope that every day for us can be a day of thanksgiving as we recognize God's blessing. We wish you, dear friends, all the very best. A beautiful hug filled with fraternal love, and we hope, God willing, to be back here on Kardec Radio next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for us to continue nourishing our souls with the divine laws. Many blessings, dear friends, and we will see you again next time. Bye now.